Good morning and good early afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Cinco de Mayo. Welcome to Real Estate America's Newsroom. I am your host, Mr. Jake Wolf, and today is a very special day for me because it's my birthday. So thank you for wishing me that happy birthday. All of you beautiful, wonderful viewers out there in the wide world. Stick around today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a power-packed show. Behind the stage right now, there's a whole bunch of awesome people eating all of the cookies and drinking all of the fruit punch. Can't wait to come out of the green rooms and start sharing their life knowledge with you. But let's go ahead and get into the show notes here. Did you know that Jeff Bezos has backed Arrived Homes crowdfunds investment properties? So Arrived Homes, the single-family real estate investment platform backed by Amazon.com and founder Jeff Bezos, fully funded its batch of 12 new rental properties released on the platform on Monday, May 2nd, in under 5 hours. So we're going to talk about what this is. I know if any of you folks have been listening here before, there's a lot of talk about investors in the marketplaces, and we're going to find out what Mr. Jeff and Amazon is doing to go ahead and throw his hat in the ring. Solar and your home. Do you have solar on your house? Are you thinking about getting solar on your home? Well, we're going to go ahead and sit down with Mr. Mark Bueller, one of California's top appraisers, and get his viewpoint from an appraiser's view. Cash for Keys, ladies and gentlemen, Cash for Keys with Annie Mack. Mr. Gene Volpe is in the house talking about the Cash for Keys program with Annie Mack. So if you're a first-time home buyer, that fact alone might get your best offers ignored by homeowners. But just because you're starting from scratch doesn't mean that you should give up on the home of your dreams. And that's where this program comes in to even the odds. So turn your buyers into cash buyers to help them compete. We're going to find out what's going on there. And TikTok banned on Instagram. What's this? What's this thing? We're going to go ahead and talk with all of the gentlemen and find out. And did you know that Gallup Poll says just 30% of adults surveyed said now is a good time to buy? Just 30%. So the 70% of those folks said, nope. So just 30% of adults surveyed by Gallup said now is a good time to buy a home, down 23%, 23 points from a year ago. And this is the first time that it has been below 50% since the question was first asked in 1978. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We got a big packed show, but I'm going to bring in my illustrious co-host, Mr. Nick Sakis. How are you doing today, sir?
Happy 36th birthday, my friend.
36 every year, ladies and gentlemen. I earn these gray hairs one way or another.
Love it. Yeah, dude, we got a lot to talk about. I'm interested. This Jeff Bezos, he went to the moon. Now he's came back on Earth and try to gobble up some real estate. So this is really interesting.
He did go to the moon. I saw him flying to the moon in that.
Yeah.
What was that?
Had a cowboy hat on and a crazy laugh that went viral on social media. It was pretty funny.
Was that even a spaceship? What was he flying in? It was shaped awkwardly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like Austin Powers. Do you remember
Austin Powers? I don't know. We're just going to have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We could find the viral meme for sure.
I know. It was quite interesting. Good. So, Arrived Homes. We've been talking about a lot of investors getting into markets. We see port authorities trying to stop this from happening. It's just a wild world of investment going on across the United States. So now Amazon's throwing their hat in the ring. Might be a big thing.
It's interesting as these interest rates continue to climb and price out the average American. These big institutions are coming in droves and gobbling up all this real estate for what could be a rental society, right?
Yes, very much so. So wait a second. So what you're telling me is the people that are renting have the opportunity to go ahead and purchase a home that other people are renting. Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, solar panels. Do you have solar on your house?
I do not.
No,
I do not. We don't have. So we actually had a house. We sold one last year that had a full Tesla system. It was one of the first Tesla systems. It was like one of 5 in Tampa Bay. Like not the Tesla roof tiles, but the full blown multiple battery and everything. And I'm interested to hear our appraisers take on it because it was quite a nightmare determining the value of this for the actual financing of the home. We got it done, but it definitely went through a couple different levels to get the real financing through.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Cash for Keys today. Cash for Keys, turning every buyer into a cash buyer. It's almost necessary now these days, isn't it?
It's a good feather in your cap. I think our buddy Volpe is going to come in and drop some knowledge bombs and really help the average person who doesn't have cash compete with cash. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to get people into real estate that would normally be losing out in these markets for sure.
Yep, 10-4. All right. Well, let's just get this show kicked off. Thank you for co-hosting today with me, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen that are watching, if you haven't done so already, please go over to reunation.com. We are streaming live now on the REU Nation network. Come and see us over there at Real Estate America's newsroom. Please enter your information to go get show notes and hot insider news. And if you guys have any insider news that you'd like to share for us to discuss or would like to be on the show, please enter your information on that exact same page. We love communicating with you. So that's important. People should do that, right?
Yeah,
all of these show notes.
We need more markets.
Yeah.
We need more market representation.
Yeah. We put together a lot of awesome information. So if you're not in, you're kind of out, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
All right, get on the inside. Let's go ahead and kick this off. I have got a little bit of a news clip here to go ahead and share with you, Mr. Nick, on this Arrived Homes. Let's go ahead and find out what Arrived Homes is all about.
Real estate has always been one of the best investments you can make, and there's good reason for that. You can count on it for consistent monthly income, as well as property value appreciation. But getting started isn't exactly easy. If you don't have $100,000 lying around in time to study the market, find the right house, deal with brokers, contracts, renovations, tenants, it can feel overwhelming. That's why we started Arrived. We thought there should be an easier way to invest in real estate. We analyze thousands of homes and bring you the rental properties with the most upside for investment. You can easily browse online. And if one catches your eye, buy shares. Then diversify across multiple homes. Arrived manages everything from finding tenants to handling repairs and provides a transparent way for you to track all of your investments. You'll receive your rental income each quarter and watch your money grow. Welcome to Arrived, the easiest way to invest in real estate.
Welcome to Arrived. Gentlemen, welcome to Arrived. So, Mr. Paul, Arrived has some homes in North Carolina, it sounds like.
They do. They are in North Carolina. They're in South Carolina. They tend to hit the southern states. And I was looking in on this, and Nick, you can correct me if I'm on this, but it is a way to invest into real estate. Hold on,
we've got an echo somewhere.
Is it me?
Yeah, I believe it is. Tim, what are your thoughts here on this Arrived Homes?
Well, it seems to me we've had this conversation on past shows about doing the tokenization of real estate, NFT, where we, kind of fractionalize property and then people can buy into that and therefore they can be a partial owner with using very little funds to get into the investment real estate game. And somebody else manages that portfolio for them. And I think it is a creative way for the average person to get into it. And it seems like Bezos sees the opportunity there. So rather than do it from the, tokenized perspective, he's just doing it from a crowdfunding perspective. So, the man knows where opportunity is. There's no doubt about it. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing to follow.
Nick, they had so much traffic on their last rollout with these homes that it crashed their website.
Yep.
Amazon, of all people, crashed their own servers with so much people, and they had all of it crowdfunded in 5 hours, even with the crashing happen.
Yeah.
So do you see that this guy's going to start buying up real estate all over the place as much as possible, especially if people are buying?
Well, think about it from, I don't want to go conspiracy theorist 100%, but if I'm in that position and I have to make chess moves in a public arena and not just be one of the richest men in the world buying up all the real estate, what would be a sneaky way to buy up all the real estate, but then get other people involved to make it look like I'm doing this for other people's benefit, right? So I still own 51% of all this real estate, but I'm crowdfunding the rest of it to make the good people feel like they're involved and also get some upside. So it's a really genius way to gobble up market share, but then look like you're still a good guy, right? And create a product and there's a need for the product, right? Grant Cardone has a fund. He did it with social media a couple years ago, crowdfunding and having people invest in his portfolio. It's nothing new. It's just that, like Tim said, this is kind of now app-based. You got $100 in your pocket and you want to be part of Amazon, like now you're somebody, right? So it's really interesting.
Paul, I think you got your audio fixed. So they've got homes in North Carolina that you just went ahead and heard about, right?
Yes, they do. And I want to explain how the split works.
Okay, let's do it.
You have to buy 10 shares, and they're $10 a share, so it's $100 investment per share. And the split is it returns. The return is around 4 to 6% of that. So if you give them $1,000, your return would be $60. And so, guys, I'm right on that on the math, right?
Yeah. I have to look into the actual investment mechanics. So maybe we'll do that and go ahead and come back next time and go ahead
Maybe
and
we'll have Jeff on the next show. We'll just
let's go
contact Jeff.
Have him fly over in that thing.
Get El Jefe on the line.
I did want to say that when they do buy, they hold the house for 5 to 7 years, and then they resell the house. And then whatever's remaining, like you said, Nick, if he's got 50%, whatever's remaining goes to the stock owners. You can do this online. You buy online, you see the homes online, and then you invest into them, and then you create a portfolio. So it's a way. I think it's a good way to get the millennials in. A lot of people look at it as far as, what am I making in the bank saving my money when I can be investing in it to this? Because what interest rates are paying now, you can get a better return here, and then the house will sell, and then you're going to make some more dividends. I really think real estate agents are needed. This may be a conspiracist to cut us out. I pulled the paper where, if you go on the website, it'll show you what a real estate agent, why you won't need a real estate agent to do this.
Oh, you mean at Arrived Homes?
At Arrived Homes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so where I'm at here with this gentleman is, obviously we've been talking, and it's been all over the mainstream news on, there is a lot of investors that are just trading homes like stocks these days. And this is just another example of another scenario of somebody that we know, Jeff Bezos, with Amazon getting in and doing all of this crowdfunding. And so we will see how this one plays out, but that's just another element to this whole thing.
He's the king of making things very, very complex situations easy, right? Mm-hmm. He solved logistics of shipping, which is why Amazon got as big as it did, because that was a difficult thing to do. He is now solving a very difficult thing to do, which is bring mass majority of people into real estate investing with this, right? So most people think real estate investing is a spooky thing if you're not in it. It's a scary thing. Oh, I heard you go to the seminar and I got to invest in this thing. And, there's all these charlatans out there and I could lose my everything. I don't really know what to do. So it could be a genius way of bringing in just mass adoption into, like you said, treating real estate like the stock market.
Tim, years ago, I knew a gentleman who was a big real estate guru instructor. His name was Alan Cowgill. And Alan was in a lot of Donald Trump's books and things like that, but basically taught people how to work with the SEC and file to go ahead and raise capital, almost crowdfund, pull in investments from IRAs, 401k loans, and things like that to do these types of exact things. So this has been around for quite some time, but it looks to me like Jeff is making it look nice and pretty on these websites, making it an easy way to go ahead and do this. So
I'll say that OPM's other people's money, right? That's the key to every investor's, desired portfolio. And all he is doing is, like you said, doing a nice, pretty package for OPMs so that it makes it look very, very attractive. It's easy barrier of entry. And I am curious what the true return interest rate guarantee might be on that, because if it is what Paul was saying, 4 to 6%, I can do better elsewhere, but it's all in what you're looking for, I suppose.
Tim, why don't you dig into it for us? We'll go ahead and come back next week and have a little bit of a final takeaway. Let's dig into it a little bit more, because I'm curious.
Will do.
All right. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, solar. Do you have solar on your home? Are you thinking about getting solar on your home? But today we're going to go ahead and spin this conversation with Mr. Mark Bueller. Mark, let's go ahead and take a look. Look at this beautiful home, Mark. Wow, look at all these solar panels, and isn't that pretty? And it's collecting sunlight and putting it into battery banks for me, and I'm feeling good and green. But what do appraisers have to go ahead and say about solar? Good, bad, or other?
Well, most appraisers lean primarily on the sales comparison approach. So we're looking at the market and how it reacts to any given feature. And in a lot of markets, there isn't a lot of solar penetration into the marketplace at this point. So I often hear from appraisers that, well, there are no sales with solar on the roof for me to compare this to. So that results in a zero adjustment. So someone who is sold solar by the solar salesman, and the solar salesman might tell you, oh, your house is going to increase in value. They're in for a rude awakening when they get this type of an appraiser showing up to their home. But I teach a course to appraisers to educate them on the value of solar. And appraisers back in the beginning early classes of learning how to do this job, there are three approaches to value. There's the market approach, which we're all very familiar with, the sales comparison. There's the cost approach, which is a depreciated cost, less obsolescence, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then there's the income approach. And when we think about the income approach, we're thinking about commercial properties that bring an income stream via rents. If we change our mindset and we think about the value of the energy to be produced by those panels up on the roof as the income stream, an appraiser can calculate value utilizing that energy savings. And there is a way to calculate based on where the home is located. We geolocate it. We see which direction those panels are facing and how many there are. And we can determine how much kilowatt hours of energy though that particular array will produce. And now it depends on how much is your energy in your area. So in Florida, the energy is very inexpensive. In California and Hawaii, it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So some homeowners are not seeing the value in it because solar is quite expensive, and it's going to take quite a while to get back your initial investment.
Sure. So will it appreciate, or will it add value, or detract from my house? Is there a detractor type scenario?
In the eyes of the market, I've heard stories about that picture that you just showed. A lot of people would say, wow, that's really unattractive. My neighbor just put solar panels all over the front of their house. That's not very, aesthetically pleasing. And my reaction to that is neither is a $500 a month electric bill. So, what would you rather look at? But yes, if we look at all approaches to value, owned solar panels, which is key, if they're owned outright, we can demonstrate additional value, contributory value to the property. If they're leased, Fannie Mae does not want appraisers to consider giving value to a lease system because technically it's not considered owned by the homeowner.
Mark, Tony is a real estate agent not too far from you in Southern California. Tony, what is the census from the real estate agent's side of the house for solar?
Well, to really answer that, generally, it would be depending on the knowledge and experience an agent has. So I can only speak from me and the people really local to me who I talk to. There is still a little bit of shaking up happening in terms of solar, because beforehand it was, oh no, it has solar. Oh, you qualify for your loan, but you got to qualify for that lease. So that did add a few hurdles. Now, while I am not supposed to read the solar contract, I do instruct the seller to talk to solar back in the day, and even nowadays, to handle the transferring of ownership, because as Mark said, either they bought them outright, or they're on a lease or a regular purchase, or these companies throw it on your house for free and you pay for monthly monitoring, and there's a whole little financial exchange. They are usually cheaper than your electric bill. So my perspective and the perspective of some of the clients I work with who made the purchase, I sat down with them and said, here's the last 12 months of the owner's bills. Now here it is with solar. How does this look to you? And it's always been cheaper. And then of course you have to work out some logistics where maybe the seller has to pre-purchase the remaining 10, 15 years of energy at a great discount and just give that to the buyer. So then the buyer perhaps could think, oh, well, that's great benefit for me now. And I don't know whether or not that's going to affect the appraisal in the future because the solar's paid off, but that's something you need a professional from Mark. So it is a little hit and miss right now, but I think the public's getting more educated, especially in California, because it's promoted so much. And I will agree with Mark. If you have a much lower electric bill consistently compared to not having it, for me personally and the people who I've recently worked with, we felt mathematically it was a good deal.
So there's a little bit extra hair, it sounds like, on
Yeah.
doing a transaction with a home that has solar on it. So what's
Yeah.
the scenario if these solar panels are still leased, right, by the homeowner that's selling? What is the process, Mark, Tony, on going through that transaction?
Well, I
Does
can
the
start
lease
that.
go ahead and move to the next person, or how does that work?
Well,
You
for
have
the
to-
realtor, it creates a marketability issue
Yeah.
because not only will they have to sell the home, they also have to sell that lease.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, as Tony mentioned, that the realtor become educated in the benefits of this, that if the monthly lease is lower than the typical utility bill, then it's a positive. So from the realtor's perspective, there becomes a marketability issue, which generates more paperwork and more time involved, and demonstrating that value as a realtor to your prospective buyers is crucial in facilitating the transaction.
They have to be careful too, because realtors, even though most of us mean well, and those of us who mean well, sometimes don't go deep enough into this, and we overstep our bounds. So while I personally, where we've had homes where we have solar, I literally read the agreement, and I would call the company, say, what happens if I take your free installation of solar and your $30 a month service where you handle everything, including insurance on my roof, where the panels are attached? When I go to sell it, what's the process of me selling my house? What does the new buyer have to do? I want to know the cost, the process. I want to see the form, and I want to see the contract, because we have to have a sense of what problems there could be or concerns, so we could be comfortable and prepared in the future. So when maybe 20 years from now, it'll be a little easier to move the solar over. The public will be more educated by then, and hopefully more agents would, listen to people like Mark, for example, or just read the contract and ask the questions before you commit to solar. So now you know what your step would be when you sell based on your contract and agreement at the time, and things could change.
Nick, there is a lot of solar panels in the state of Florida. So if I'm selling my home in Florida, I have solar panels on it. Should I be looking for a real estate agent that knows what they're actually doing with this solar thing? Because I don't think a lot of people really understand how to transact a home with solar properly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of door-to-door salesmen taking advantage and leasing systems to homeowners who have no idea the repercussions on sale. So I would venture to say that there's more of that going on than people outright owning a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 system, right? So in that case, for sure, as a homeowner, like, hey, I got this lien on the house, or I got this outstanding bill of, that's going to affect the next person that comes to buy this home. So if you're watching this, right, most of our audience is real estate agents. Do your homework on that. Let them know how it's transferred. You could even talk about that. You want to talk about niche marketing for your business. Become a solar expert and start talking to homeowners about how how to operate and or sell these homes. And when you speak to that person, they're going to call you because you have the knowledge that probably nobody else in your market's talking about.
Yep, absolutely.
That's correct, Nick. Any agent out there that can get their head around this stuff and be able to explain it to a potential client could have an edge in getting listings and ahead of your competition out there. And I say this to realtors all the time, especially in places like California and Florida where it is prevalent. Learn about this stuff and learn how to demonstrate that additional value. So on the valuation issue that you had with the Tesla system on the property in Florida, that's not uncommon. But I think it's really important, if you have a unique feature on a property as a realtor, to vet the appraiser before you let them come to your purchase transaction, and ask them some questions about what do they know about solar or boat docks or oceanfront or waterfront properties. And then you have every right to go back to your typically it's an appraisal management company. They go to the lender and say, we want someone who is competent in this particular feature, because competency is a big thing, and there's a lot of incompetent work being done. So anybody who gives a 0 to a solar array, that is an adjustment just as much as $10,000 or $20,000 is, and it needs to be supported.
Very interesting. So, Mark, you're teaching other appraisers, you're educating them on this whole world of solar. Is this also something that might be available for real estate professionals to come over and learn more about solar themselves?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
I have a website called appraisesolar.com. And from time to time, I'll have classes. My next one, I actually am doing one on the 18th of this month. And it's for continuing education for appraisers in the states where I have it approved. But anybody can come and learn.
And it's
appraisesolar.com.
Okay. Appraisesolar.com, ladies and gentlemen. Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Mark. Stick around for one of the closing segments. We appreciate you, and thanks for sharing your knowledge here with us.
Thank you, Jake. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I highly urge you to go hang out with Mr. Mark, appraisesolar.com. Jump in there, get the knowledge. And just like Nick went in and said, it might be an awesome opportunity for you to have a unique angle of knowledge to talk to different homeowners and represent them properly. I think that's important. So, all right, we're getting on to the next segment here. Cash for keys. Are you a struggling first-time home buyer? Are you just struggling straight up? You might even be a VA type person or have a conventional loan. And you know what? You're competing with 10, 15, 20 other people that are coming in. Let's go ahead and talk to Mr. Gene Volpe, the man, the myth, and the legend who's on mute. So we'll get him to unmute his mic. Hey, Gene, you're working with Annie Mac over here, and they've got a wonderful program, make a cash offer that they can't refuse. And I really like here on their website where it just says, are you a first-time home buyer? That fact alone might get your best offer ignored by the homeowners that are selling, right? Break it down for us.
Well, before I do that, I'm not going to just let you ride this. Well, first of all, I know I'm on mute, number one. Number two, why did it take you so damn long to get me on this show? Episode 66, your boy finally gets on, right? and there's no way I'm going into my segment without saying happy Cinco and, more importantly, happy birthday.
Appreciate you, Gene. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
As I do you know that.
Yep.
So, look, if you're watching some of what we're doing on RU Nation and the things we're doing, you may have seen my face before. Most people don't know that I operate in the mortgage industry, and that, just to be real clear, I'm not a licensed mortgage officer. What I do is I handle business development and marketing for the community mortgage team at Annie Mac. We're a $6 billion company. We're nationwide. My team is licensed in about 47 states. I say about because it changes all the time. But what happened is this market, Jake, you know this, right? This market has been wild with fluctuating interest rates and, I mean, just all kinds of things happening. Shortage of inventory is forcing people to go millions of dollars above asking. And obviously I'm being a little ridiculous, but
Understood.
I'm really just being a jokester, but the folks, the C-suite at Annie Mac came up with this really slick idea, which is they created a separate entity called Annie Mac Private Equity, which has a lot of money in it. And they're able to actually back your buyer with a cash offer. So what happens is now, and look, there's a lot of variables. I'm not going to go into the weeds on this. I would say set up a call with me or one of my loan officers or partners, and they can really get you into the space if you have questions. We're currently available in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And here's what I can tell you. As a real estate agent listening, there's a couple things you have to be aware of. Number one, it could get your old sellers and old buyers who are now out of the game because of this crazy market. It could get them back in the game. It's going to get you more conversations with buyers and sellers. It's going to get you more conversations with other realtors in your area. And it's a super, I'm in marketing. So it's a super easy tool to use in your marketing space to create more conversations with the people that you want to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. I hear a lot of people are just getting buyer fatigue and people are dropping out and getting frustrated. I think Paul went ahead and said it here this morning, even in the backstage. He said there's just some buyers that they're just done right now.
Yeah, so I had two that went back to renting. One is a veteran and the other is FHA, and I just could not get them in. And I've probably written 15 contracts on properties for them. Yeah. And talked to the listing agent, pleaded. We made a video. I made a video, and I'll do that, and I'll make a video and I'll send it as part of my strategies. Just to let them know how important this is and what our offer is, what it's pertaining, and we're going in. Because we know that FHA, VA, USDA, there's a lot of that out here in North Carolina. Those are harder appraisals. They're not like cash or conventional. We can't close in 2 weeks. We can't close in 30 days. We're going to close in 45 days, and everyone's behind. And so I think it's going to be fantastic.
So, Gene, how does your program help a realtor like Paul so that he can go ahead and get his people set up properly so they can be more competitive?
Well, for one, so there's two segments, right? There's one that's called Cash 2 Keys. By the way, Sarge, you were saying Cash 4 Keys. That's another program altogether, right? This one's called Cash 2 Keys. Not to correct you, but I actually said to people, yeah, that's the program where you get banks give you money to get you out of the house. No, that's not what it is. We want to get you into the house. So Cash 2 Keys is the program.
Cash 2 Keys. Okay.
So that's for your buyers, right? And what that allows you to do is that allows as a real estate agent to make a stronger offer. So, I mean, Paul knows this. When you go into a space, if you're waiving every single contingency and you come to the seller's house with a blank check, it's going to be much easier than if you have a mortgage contingency and we got to do an appraisal and right. So it's a tactic and a tool to allow a guy like Paul to put his buyers in a much stronger position when there's multiple offers and things are going above asking, right? That's the idea. The flip side to this that I didn't really mention is there's another element to this called buy now, sell later. And what that means is if you have a house to sell, so when you're on the seller side, a lot of sellers are sitting off the market right now because they think that if they sell their house today, they're not going to be able to get into a house, right? They're going to be living on the street or with their parents in the basement. And what buy now, sell later does for you is it allows you to make your offers, whether you use the cash to key program or just a regular mortgage or whatever it is. But it also allows us to hold on to your home for a 6-month period. So you have a 6-month window to sell that house. And in this market, if it's a decent property, it's not going to take 6 months to sell it. So we have those two scenarios. And I want to say to Paul real quick, this program itself, these two buy now, sell laters and the cash to keys are available for conventional and for VA, not FHA, but VA is part of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. That's fantastic. Good. Mr. Gene, I think that this is something that needs to have more notoriety, help out more people, because as we just even heard from Paul, he has two people that are just straight up exhausted.
Yep.
Going back to renting, tired of putting in 15 different offers, tired of the whole getting excited about a home, a husband and wife visualizing, yes, that's our home. Yes, I can see ourselves living there. And then having to go through this just pure bloody fight of trying to go ahead and get some type of awareness to their offer, right? So,
and look, if I can add to that, I would say this too. You and I think exactly alike when we come from a marketing perspective for the real estate industry. This marketing is all about creating conversations for you that you couldn't otherwise have, or you might not otherwise have. This is an opportunity for you to go back to all those people and say, hey, I got this new thing that might get you off the fence and might get your offer accepted a little quicker. Let's have a conversation over coffee. If you're not interested, cool. But if you think it might be a tool for you to use, I'm going to bring in my guy, Gene. We're going to talk about it, see if it works for you. And there we go.
Nick, if I'm armed with this program as a real estate professional, I can then go reach out to a lot of other real estate agents in and around my area and say, hey, look, my people are coming with this type of strength. It's going to be a clean, smooth offer. It's going to be a quick kind of a close, and it's all about that relationship game, right? So what's your take on this thing?
I think it's a natural progression of this market and what was needed, right? So a couple of years ago, other mortgage companies started, and Annie Mac probably does this too, where you can get a buyer basically fully underwritten all the way to, we just need the address and you can close in like 5 days, right? So that was kind of like the first iteration of things getting really hot, where you could have a fully underwritten, not just a pre-approval type letter to get into a house. because it's so competitive, I think this is just a great way to make your offer really stand out. And, Annie Mac is not, they're the only ones doing this for real estate agents that I know of. But there's other corporations out there that are going in, doing something similar, helping you buy the home, but then they take a huge fee in order for you to do the transaction and buy the house back from them as financing and not just the cash. So Annie Mac and Gene's team is doing a fantastic job helping agents, which is what this show is about, right? That's why we're in this industry, move the needle forward and help their clients.
Thank you, Nick. Tim, this program down in Texas is extremely competitive. Prices have been going off the wall. We just saw on Tuesday that Austin's home prices have appreciated 71%, low inventory, extremely competitive. Can you see this program working well for your real estate business and others around Dallas-Fort Worth?
100%. I mean, anytime, sitting on the selling side of the transaction, representing the sellers, I mean, they're looking for the easiest, most seamless way to closing as possible, right? The fewer the hiccups, the more likely that offer is accepted. This right here seems to be exactly kind of that ticket that punches all those concerns and eliminates all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely viability there, and anyone should check it out, see how it works for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Gene, I'm a veteran, right? And typically in the old days, not in this real estate market, if you were a buyer and had a VA loan, that's a strong offer in and of itself. It's a good, strong, this is a veteran, they're already approved, we're going to go ahead and get this thing done, right? But now veterans are losing opportunity left and right because of the way that the marketplace is, and this program helps with the veterans, right? Break that down for us.
You just broke it down. I mean, the one thing I'll say is working with these guys at Annie Mac and the community mortgage team, they're super aware of the services provided by our vets, and they really make an effort. I've seen this in the past. My father was a Marine. My grandfather was a Purple Heart recipient in World War II. So I come from a long line of service members. It's important to the C-suite at this company that they give back where they can, and they made strides and efforts to make sure that as a vet, we give you the best tools moving forward. And a cash offer for me is just one of those things, right? Like, I'm worried about these things. You don't have to worry about it. We got you covered on the back end. So you're right. As a veteran, we want to make sure that they listen. If there's anybody in this country that deserves a little bit of a kick from behind to get them into a space where they're going to live, I think it's a vet. So that's an important element from Annie Mac and Community Mortgage Team, and I'm proud to relay that to you.
Yeah. So please do us a favor from me and all the rest of us here at Real Estate American News. If you could go back and thank the principals at Annie Mac for doing what they can to take care of our vets. We truly salute them. So thank you, Mr. Gene. We appreciate it.
I will. Thank you, Sarge.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it happened. It happened. Awkwardly enough, all of you people that like this thing called TikTok, you're spending time TikToking, and then you try to go ahead and share it over onto Instagram, and Instagram now says what, Nick?
Well, we got a little clickbaity here, Sarge. Not necessarily banned, but the algorithm has changed recently in the past couple months, and they strongly advised you before, when TikTok first came out 2 years ago, to not share TikToks directly to Instagram via the watermark that was on there. Now, basically, what they're doing is they're spinning it into, we're helping you at Facebook or Meta or Instagram as a community advocate, so that we know where exactly original content is produced. So they're using this to try to say, make sure you upload native content to Instagram so you can get credit as the original owner. That's the forward facing. The behind the scenes is, oh snap, TikTok has taken over everybody's mind share, and we're tired of everybody sharing their watermark TikToks on our platform. So I gave this, I'll do the example like I did yesterday at the MLS. Like, what if there was a world where us as listing agents, when we posted a listing to the MLS, our face as a watermark was on that listing. And when it was shared out into the IDX world, the Zillows and everything, we were the ones who were getting contacted. Our brand was on there, right? That would never happen. Zillow would never allow that. Realtor.com, all these IDX portals would never allow that. That's exactly what's going on with TikTok. Everybody's sharing that watermark video, and it just brought people over in droves. So other platforms are trying to put a kibosh to that.
You know, Nick, Gene, Tony's got some pretty famous sidekicks that he's working in onto some of his social media platforms. You know that? So I think I met one of his friends in the pre-show. He was talking a bunch of stuff. Tony, is your friend available by chance?
I swear to God, I'm not taking over the show. I love TikTok. I love Jake. I love Nick. I love this bald guy over here. I swear to God, I'm serious.
Oh, okay, so this is a
You
little
had to
bit
start
of
him up.
pre-show of the TikTok side of the house, right? I mean, these are some of the things that people do over there, and it's quite interesting. So, Gene, if I'm hanging out with Tony and his sidekick on TikTok, now I just can't share that at all whatsoever over at Instagram anymore.
Well, Nick and I battled about this on a couple shows ago. I think, if it's gonna stop you from doing it at all, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, guy. Just do it. They're not gonna ban you. They'll probably shadow ban you. They'll probably smack you. They might restrict you for 10 days or something. I don't really care. But we were talking about this the other day. If you're so concerned with creating multiple pieces of organic content and you're not going to do it because you're afraid Instagram's going to ban your TikTok logo, just do it. Right. That's mine. I know Nick doesn't agree with me. I
agree with you on that point. Right.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So essentially they're not going to ban you. They're just going to restrict your reach, just like they did on Facebook business pages from years ago. Right. You could get good organic reach on Facebook business pages. And then they said, nope, we want your ad money. So you have to advertise. Kind of the same thing's happening with Instagram. If you go to my Instagram reels, you'll see TikTok watermarks from months ago. Right. I've done it. It just wasn't as strict as it is now moving forward. So I'm not going to do that anymore. As a matter of fact, my business, we actually remove watermarks for people and distribute the content for them hands off. So we know this moving forward, it's going to be a much bigger deal. And we're putting bullets down range, as Sarge would say.
Nice.
Good.
Real quick, I want to say, I think it's interesting. You got to follow this a little bit, right? From a business and a marketing perspective. It's not often that you get one company saying to another company, we're not allowed to do this, right? Like Instagram is pretty much marketing TikTok by their refusal to give credit, right? And to give that reach. So I almost look at it as like a cease and desist letter. So if you get a cease and desist letter from an attorney, that means you're making enough noise for them to notice. And I think from TikTok to Instagram, I think it's an interesting dynamic. I feel like Instagram went, oh yeah, well, we're now the war is here. And I think it's going to be interesting to watch it play out.
Tony, what is this doing now? So are you hanging out with Nick and removing watermarks? And I know you love getting social with you and your sidekicks.
Yeah, because no one else will play with me. like when I was a kid. Come on, Your Honor, it's only a gun. I'm 12. No, seriously. Well, no seriousness though. My philosophy is whenever these issues come up, again, like I say many times in the show, a lot of this stuff is evolving all the time, whether the government, finally gets involved or the public changes their mind on something. With TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything, I would suggest, and this is what I'm doing moving forward, is shoot once and then upload. This way you can also maybe adjust the look. You can adjust your timing and schedule as opposed to shoot once on TikTok and then share. And also those platforms prefer, unless things have changed recently, they prefer you to upload direct. Facebook likes an upload to Facebook. Twitter likes an upload to Twitter, just like YouTube likes an upload. Therefore, you wouldn't share a YouTube link in Facebook because you don't know if Facebook's going to say behind the scenes, they're not really going to share this much. So I would suggest to people listening, try shooting a good video clip, maybe something for 30 seconds or a minute, upload, especially portrait, because we've always turned our phones sideways because our TVs were like that. We were indoctrinated to this direction, but almost everybody watches their phone like this when you're standing online at Starbucks or at the market. So portrait tends to be the less lazy thing for people to do and watch, because I know I don't read websites sideways on my phone. It's always upright. So when the video fits perfectly, it's very convenient to hold your hand like this. So I would say shoot upright, do a 30-second video clip for realtors, share it to TikTok, then share it to Instagram, then share it to Facebook. This way, from each platform's perspective, it's coming in natively. And of course, like I said a second ago, maybe there's little adjustments or stickers you can put on there, because on LinkedIn, you probably wouldn't want to have yourself guzzling a beer, firing a Desert Eagle, and then share it to TikTok, and you also put it on LinkedIn. So I would say shoot natively and then put it out there. You got to think it through a little bit. It's the logistics.
Thank you, Tony. Say hello to your sidekick friends for me, and let them know that Sarge said hello.
You got to call them. Don't encourage them.
All right. Jeez. All right. Oh, have I told you lately that I love my co-hosts and their friends? It's quite interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, Gallup poll says that just 30% of the yous and me's that were interviewed said now's a good time to buy, right? We're everything's up. You always hear old Sarge say inflation's up, home prices are up, gas is up, food's up, everything's up. So just 30% of adults surveyed by Gallup said now is only a good time to buy a home. And that is down 23% points from 1 year ago. And this, interestingly enough, is the first time that this poll has been below 50% confidence in home purchasing since the question was first asked in 1978. So I've got a CNBC clip here that we're going to go ahead and review, and we're going to bring everybody back to go ahead and roundtable this to go ahead and close out the show today. But here we go. Here's what CNBC has to say.
Hi, Morgan. Yeah, the Federal Reserve played a massive role in fueling the pandemic-induced housing boom over the last 2 years, and now it's doing just the opposite. When the pandemic started, take a look. The average rate on the 30-year fix dropped from just over 4% all the way down to 2.75. It set more than a dozen record lows in 2020 alone, and rates stayed low through the end of last year. Why? Because the Fed not only kept its key interest rate at zero, but it also restarted its large-scale purchases of agency mortgage-backed bonds and now holds 30% of those outstanding bonds. Big Fed demand kept mortgage rates low. That lit a fire under home prices, which are up nearly 34% since the start of the pandemic. Low rates give buyers more spending power. But now the 30-year fixed has spiked up to over 5.5% just in the last few months because the Fed stopped buying MBS and is about to start selling off its balance sheet, in addition to raising its rate, which pushed the 10-year Treasury yield to its highest since 2009. Mortgage rates loosely follow that yield. So for home buyers today, with both higher prices and higher interest rates, the monthly mortgage payment for the average home is now about $1,800 more than it would have been the same home the start of the pandemic. As a result, 95% of the 100 biggest U.S. markets are less affordable than their long-term levels. That figure was just 6% at the start of COVID. David?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
We had to throw Shepard Smith in there at the very end. You know, it's always nice to see Shep. So, guys, $1,800 more for me to go ahead and get into a house on average across the United States. We were talking about Austin, Texas. Home prices up 71%. Never in the history has homeowners been more bearish, it sounds like, so says CNBC. Paul, you were talking about some of your folks now just saying I'm done, throwing in the towel, constantly competing. Break it down for us. What's your takeaway on this CNBC report?
Well, I'm in the 30%, which I think now is a good time to buy. And the reason I'm saying that is because interest rates are now at 5.5 for a 30-year loan, and they're just going to keep going up. I personally think they're going to go to 8. We might be lucky or not. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not lucky. We might be going back to the Richard Nixon administration when they were extremely high if we're not careful. And some people don't think that. They think it's going to come back down. I don't see them coming down. So I think if you're going to buy, I would buy now. Rents are gone up. And in North Carolina, we have a lot of people coming. And they're buying up properties. So the rents in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to get a two-bedroom, 1 bath, around 700 square foot, you're looking at $900 a month.
Paul, how can people get in touch with you if they need representation there in North Carolina?
Yeah, so if you need to get out in touch with me, you can call me at 963-3684, or you can, as my name is here, Paul NC Realtor is my social media. I do a lot of TikTok. I do a lot of Instagram. And you can just look me up, Paul NC Realtor, and DM me, and I'll be happy to connect with you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mark Bueller, you're the appraiser in the mix here. Talk to us about prices, good sir. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the poll is, I think geographically, I think it depends on where you're at. If you're in a market like where Tim's at in Austin, it's probably better to rent in some of these high-priced areas or places that have had radically appreciation over the last year or so. In other areas, in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, places like that, the figures show that it makes more sense to purchase there. And I think one of the key questions is, how long are you going to stay in that house? Because if you're not going to stay there very long, it might not be a good play for you. Most people are not day trading homes like Jeff Bezos. So if you aren't going to buy that house, then Jeff probably will.
It's always going to get purchased, isn't it, Mark? Good. Mark, how can people get in touch with you if they need help with your appraisal company or representation or some of your knowledge courses?
Yeah, you can reach out to me. Email's the best way. Mark, M-A-R-K, at CMP, like Charles, Mary, Paul, appraisal.com.
CMP Appraisal. Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Mark. We appreciate you. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yep. Timothy, the word's out on the street. Most homeowners are being bearish. Paul from North Carolina says now's a great time to buy because interest rates might be going up to 8%. What say you?
Well, I was actually thinking before Paul was speaking that I wonder what percentage of the 30% were realtors that were recommending that. Just saying, but no, I always come back to I agree with Mark, and he was saying, Mark, he was saying that it really depends on how long you plan on staying. Right. And this is the one that I come back to. If you're going to be there a while and you can ride out, even if the market shifts and changes, yes, you're right. You can capture this percentage rate that seems to be on the rise and lock that in. You get a non-variable, mortgage in that, at least like a rent can fluctuate with the markets, but at least your mortgage rate's locked in. So there's a lot of things to really consider. Like I said, more now than ever, you really ought to outline what it is you're trying to accomplish by making that purchase. Now, where I spin this is it's a hell of a time to sell. Okay. Maybe we're talking about buying, but it is a hell of a time to sell and capture that equity, lock that in, put it into some products that can give you a nice yield, a compound yield. You're protected for market loss. And that's what I do. But yeah, I mean, there's people out there that would love to sell, but they're also sitting going, well, I don't know, I can't buy back into this market right now. Well, don't rent and put that money, the equity to work. And that's
Tim, you teach people how to become your own bank and to go ahead and put their money to go ahead and work in different vehicles on their behalf, and it's protected and things like that. I highly urge people to go hang out with Mr. Tim Parnell and his whole wealth crew. Those guys are phenomenal. I sat down with each and every single one of them and vetted them, and I'm actually using some of their products, and it's amazing. Tim, what is the best way for folks to go ahead and get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can just respond directly to me at patriotwealthnation@protonmail.com. I'm the one that would respond to that. And like I said, anything we do is it's just free education. We just sit there and talk to you and see what's going on and what your goals are. And we just outline a plan. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with it.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. Appreciate you. Nick Sakis, we've got the final two competitors here at the round table. And Tony, Gene, what are you thinking on this whole thing? Tony?
Well, let me tell you, I will go back to my old days back in the science labs. Data is only as good as the sample size. I'm not going to get technical, but public, hear me. Every time you hear something about this, like this Gallup poll, if they sampled 3,000 people and 1,000 just hung up on them and they had 2,000 left and 30% of those were adults, which makes me think, who else did they call? So they say, oh, look, this many people or fewer people are now saying time to buy. There's over 300 million people in the country. So the sample size was something like 0.000001. So that data doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow things are going to change up or down. So I would say, while the news, the bigger channels tend to sensationalize things, we here like to have these conversations. And for me, coming out of my opinion is, like I said 3 other times before, if you love the house, you can afford it, buy it, because you're either paying your mortgage or you're paying someone else's mortgage. And also, the best time to buy real estate was 5 years ago and today. And as Paul said, if those rates go up in another year, just the people, the buyers who were capable for the last 2 years because of all the scariness on the news, you lost so much money for waiting. It's a shame. So think about the home. Buy it if you can. If the financial numbers work for you, go get it. Because if that house is worth a lot more money, no matter what the rates change, you're going to look back at the sensational news with a small sample size and think, boy, am I glad I listened to my realtor. But you got to be careful, of course. You can't just go buy a house because you want it. Talk to a good realtor, talk to an accountant, look at your numbers, look at someone like Tim, even Nick. Just talk to somebody and go through the numbers to be safe. So this way, the scary news out there, if it is scary to you, won't mean anything as long as in your small world, as Mark said, your local economy, if it works, that would be a better path to take, in my opinion.
Sounds good. Tony, how can people get in touch with you if they need representation down there in Southern California?
Hey, they can just go to my website for all my contact information, TonyBabarino.com. And all my information is right there. They can call, email, text. I'm here for them.
Tony, how can people get in touch with your sidekick on TikTok if they need to get in touch with him?
Well, he probably has to have his own channel. He's been bugging me between the duck and the rabbit and the squirrel. I swear it's every time you say his name, he shows up like Beetlejuice. I swear to God.
Tony Babarino.duck.
Duck Barbarino. Actually, it's Quackers McDuck.
Quackers
Nice.
McDuck. All
Yeah,
right.
he's the superior grandmaster real estate agent. So that's, I don't know, he's
All right,
watching
good.
the show.
We'll have to bring Quackers McDuck back on for some of his intelligence on a later show. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony.
You're welcome,
Take
guys.
care of Quackers.
Take
for
care,
us.
America. I love you, Jake. I love you. I swear to God. Happy birthday, Jake. Yes. Yes, I love you. Thank you for your service. All us ducks appreciate.
Oh, my
He quacked out.
God. Well, I'll tell you what, Tony and Quackers, they can talk long. They don't know that we're on a timeline here and we've got a show to go ahead and wrap up. So, but I love Tony and Quackers. They're fantastic. Gino, it looks like there is mixed emotions and mixed thoughts when it comes to people being bearish, or should they buy now? What say you, Gene?
Well, if you've been watching this trio for a while, 18 months ago or so, I told you get cash heavy, right?
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about stashing your cash, get to a point where you can spend. And I think this is one of the reasons why, right? Like there's a million different variables that go into when you purchase a house. I think a couple guys said it. I think Tim said it. Mark said it. It depends on what you're buying it for, right? If you're going to be in there for 14 years, the rate today is not that big of a deal, especially if you can afford it. The other piece of it is if you had a little bit of cash, you can put more down. You can buy your rate down. Like there's a lot of things that you can do. You can get rid of your PMI. There's a lot of things you can do with cash that sort of eliminate that thing. Like I think in most cases, even with my cars, I don't know what rate I have because when I bought it, I went, what's the payment? And they told me and I went, yeah, I can afford that. I'm cool. Right. It's probably, if my father-in-law heard me say that, he would probably want to choke me because he's way more fiscally responsible than I am. But I just think it's one of these things where like, if you're playing scared, you're always going to be scared. Just I talk to people that can advise you, that you trust. Look at everything that's there and then make your decision based off your geography. What's going to happen to home? Look, is it 8% rate right now matter if home prices drop 13% in the next 4 months? I mean, half a dozen in one, 6 in the other. So just get your ducks in a row. Not Quacky McDuckerson or whatever the hell
Yes.
Barbarino's guy is.
Yeah, I know.
And then figure it out.
I know Tony's smiling behind the stage. He heard that.
That's right.
That. Wait a second. Wait. I think somebody else just went ahead and.
Oh,
See?
the great Poobah. Oh, is the thing on? Oh, hello, Baldy.
See,
Hello, sexy. Oh, hello.
Gene, you have to be careful when you say duck around Real Estate America's newsroom. I'm just saying. Please, next time you join the show, just keep the ducks to a minimum. All right.
Oh my God.
We promised there was no tequila in the pre-show. This is
telling
just, yeah.
I'm telling
Hello,
you.
America. Yes. Well, I'm only here at the request of Jake. When he speaks, ducks listen.
See, I'm telling you, this happens. Ladies and gentlemen, tell your friends. Nick, why should people even listen to this damn show? And where should they go to see us and hang out with us? And why is it cool to be at the RU Nation? Break it down for everybody.
Yeah, I think you got to go to the RU Nation and sign up. We got a lot of other programs, not just the news. But our goal with this show is to keep you updated on what's going on in the real estate market from all different markets, right? We're starting this show up basically out of Tampa Bay, California, North Carolina, guys that we know that are respected in their industries, in their markets. And our vision for the show is to get every market to have representation so that we have a real source of boots on the ground information for all the agents and mortgage brokers involved in this industry right now. So if you're interested in following us along and being here for the journey and also contributing, head over to RU Nation, sign up, and help us be a contributor to the show because we'd love to have you on.
Outstanding. You see how cool it is to be on RU Nation, Gene Volpe?
You better believe it.
Yeah. Outstanding. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the show today. Nick, thanks for co-hosting. We appreciate you. And
Thank you, sir.
It's still happening back there, guys. I'm telling you. It's still.
Oh,
See, it's all right. It's happening. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today here on my birthday, Cinco de Mayo, with all of these amazing gentlemen and even our new friend that's going to be a reoccurring guest, Mr. Quackers. So God bless each and every single one of you, ladies and gentlemen. Head over to runation.com. Come check us out and participate with our show. And until next time, have a blessed rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen.